Hey guys, I'm Leila. Welcome to Raid Lore Stories. So today's lore story, I'm so excited. We get to share the lore story for Lady Mikage. She is one of the new mythics in the game. She's also the permanent fusion, right? I am intrigued though about this little I don't know, this little like demon toy thing that's on her belt. And let's look at her shift. She just looks so cool. Like I think they nailed it with her, right? Her design looks absolutely amazing. So honestly, like I can't wait to get into this story with you guys and see, how this came to be, how she became Lady Mikage and how she turns into that spider. So let's read this together. When the tides of battle ran irrevocably against Sirath at the close of the Second Great War, many demon spawn in Teleria turned their swords on themselves, knowing that slaying their host bodies would see them swiftly return to Anathrad. Not all did so, however. One demon spawn prince named Helldier was convinced by his subordinate, a demon spawn named Mikage Jirogumo, to continue the Shadow God's work in secret. Mikage was an old and cunning being who held a particular affinity for arachnids, whose patience, intelligence, and deadly temperament she honored with her own spider-like form. Cunning, she could weave traps both physical and political, and though rarely seen, was often present during the destruction of her enemies, watching from the shadows. Helldier, who had steadily been falling under Mikage's charming sway, consented to her scheme, and his underlings dispersed, beginning a period of more covert action against the people of Teleria. Helldier, Mikage, and a number of demon spawn ventured into the human-dominated Dawnlands of Yakai, intending to corrupt what they could not directly conquer. Taking on human forms, they infiltrated positions of power across the region and rapidly began subverting the clans living there. In fact, Mikage had long coveted Yakai. It was distant enough from the Eternal Citadel to ensure the Sacred Order would not meddle in her designs, and give her a location to one day strike the Arbiter's Tower from. She had also been working to secretly undermine Helldier's standing among his warriors almost since the beginning of the Second Great War. After taking on the role of a trusted advisor within several prominent Dawnlander clans, Mikage exposed Helldier's demonic form, convincing the humans to attack the stronghold he had been building at Kumushiro. Covertly, Mikage mixed the paralyzing venom she could excrete into the garrison's water supply, leaving Helldier and his minions powerless to defend themselves. The humans slaughtered them. Thus did Mikage further cement the trust she had earned from the witless Dawnlanders. Mikage likewise used Helldier's destruction as an example for other demon spawn, showing those who resisted her authority that she could expose them to the humans now in her thrall. She set about weaving more webs among the clans, rapidly subverting them. Nobles were seduced, old pacts broken, and within the space of just a few years, sways of Yakai had sworn themselves to the beautiful woman they knew as Lady Mikage, with Helldier's original servants soon hugely outnumbered by those Mikage had turned. What became known as the Mikage autocracy quickly held sway in eastern Peletos, beginning a reign of terror that lasted for centuries. Lady Mikage pleased Sirath with a foretaste of what would come for all Teleria, creating a kingdom where demon spawn ruled, and their mortal underlings inflicted all manner of brutalities on any who would not swear obedience. Komushiro became her power base and her capital. She filled its throne room with thick webs and entangled within them the desiccated corpses of those who had displeased their spider queen. But Mikage did not grow indolent in victory. Like the arachnid she loved to mimic and control, she knew it was best if her prey were unaware that she sat at the center of her web, blind to her presence, until it was too late. She was rarely present at Kumishiro, preferring instead to walk abroad, her true and terrible form concealed, using the beatific, magical mask she wore. She continued to subvert and corrupt, and her influence scuttled down into even the lowest layers of Yukawa society. Besides the many mortals who did her bidding, Mikage also wove dark magics into a great number of spiders, giving some the ability to metamorphosize into human form. In this way, these servants could travel abroad and spread her influence further, spinning more traps to catch spies and traitors and luring the unwary. Their true nature only hinted at by the web tattoos found in part of their bodies, their unblinking stares, and their swift but silent thread. While the autocracy grew powerful, Lady Mikage all but omnipotent, thanks to her minions and spiderlings, eventually, the brutality of Yakai's rulers pushed the common people too far. A rebellion began, spreading like wildfire among the lower classes and eventually receiving support from the likes of the Sylvan of the Mistwood and the dwarves of the Skyrim Dominion. Armed conflict erupted throughout Yakai as the force of the autocracy fought to suppress what turned into a vicious guerrilla campaign. Lady Mikage turned her talents to the destruction of the rebellion and almost succeeded. She tricked and seduced many of its leaders, sending their forces into ambushes or luring them to Kumushiro's dungeons. But the uprising proved bigger for any one being to contain, even one as fiercely cunning and terrifyingly ruthless as Lady Mikage. As more autocracy strongholds fell and more people joined the rebellion, Lady Mikage's efforts became even more desperate. She withdrew entirely from direct leadership of the autocracy, leaving her web throne in Kumashiro unoccupied as she lured in the shadows elsewhere in Yakai. She became even more of a legend than she had been before, and some denied that she had even existed at all. This suited her well, for when Kumashiro was finally burned and the last of her great webs were immolated, the rebellion's leaders chose to claim that Mikage had perished in the flames rather than admit that she had invaded them. Since that defeat, Lady Mikage has haunted Yakai like a nightmare that refuses to fully dissipate with waking. She carefully conceals her true arachnid form, taking the guise of a masked noblewoman or poor traveler as need takes her. She knows she cannot return to Enithrad for her failure to aid Serath in the Third Great War, while failing to control Yakai was here grievously punished by the Shadow God. So she remains in the shadows, a fallen ruler who, with the slow but diligent patience of a spider, is carefully weaving her broken web anew. Guys, I gotta say, I thought that was a really good story. What I do like is we have read other stories where they allude to this Mikage autocracy. So now we know what they are alluding to. They're talking about her. And I really like how, again, we talk about her being a spider, how they use that both, literally, but then also metaphorically. I thought that was really neat. Guys, drop us a comments down below what you think for the lore story for Lady Mikage. And thanks for watching.